Jesus, he once said, when you make the two one, and when you make the inner as the outer, and the outer as the inner, and the above as the below, then shall you enter into the kingdom of heaven. Dr. Kilde, what do you think about the Avatar movie and, you know, reality and what we truly are and so?
I thought the Avatar movie was fantastic, and it has touched the hearts of millions of people, because of course in 1 week it had already paid the whole movie, which was the most expensive movie in the whole world. And the reason, I think, was because it said some things that are very, very true. I mean, it showed how the, should I say, military, industrial, scientific complex is taking over and destroying so much of life and nature and people on this planet, symbolically and physically too. Then it also showed something that was very important, that when there was a man in the wheelchair and he was put into this kind of a box where he was able to get out of his body, leave his body which was paralyzed, and he went to another planet and he was not paralyzed. In a way it symbolized that he was in another dimension, he was in another body, and it was beautiful. And they were living with nature, even if it was a race that looked like cats with their tails. Well, the universe is full of different kind of physical manifestations for the energy. So we on this planet are very, very stupid when we request that our frames should be the only ones. You have to have 5 fingers, you have to have teeth, you have to have hair. Well, they don't. Then we say, oh, there's no life on other planets because there's no oxygen. Now we need the oxygen, and we say nobody is allowed to live without oxygen. I mean, they don't need oxygen. But there's one thing, besides saying also that there is no water, or we need the water. But one thing in the whole universe, there can't be any life if there's no light. So it's the light energy that is the most important for all races in the whole universe that we know, and of course we know just a few. We do not know when the universe ends. We do not have contact with all kinds of entities from different planets. Even if we do, even today, we fly not only to the moon, to the Mars, but also to Saturn. I was very surprised to see a video about that when the space pilot Mark Richards was his wife was telling the story that he had been driving with this alien craft to Saturn, and it had consciousness. Now our brain, 10% we're using maximum brain capacity of our possible, 100%, so it doesn't grasp that. How can a machine have consciousness? Everything has consciousness, of course. And I think something like that came into the hearts of the people when they went to see Avatar. And those who don't, think for themselves, they say, oh, it was a science fiction movie. Well, of course it was a movie, but it showed the truth. What happens when you get out of your body, you're healthy. You're on another dimension, on another planet. And you can't just say that it was science fiction, which is not in reality, because I've told before once that I was in Moscow in '91 in a UFO conference arranged by the Russians, and the lecturers were from the Russian, at that time it was Soviet, Academy of Sciences. They were pilots, they were doctors, they were professors, and highest military. Now, I didn't know that time that the chairman of the conference, Dr. Asharsa, was, can you imagine, chief of Soviet Navy intelligence. I found it out later. And who opened the conference? It was General Cosmonaut Pavel Pavlovich. I mean, on that level, and it was open for everybody, 400 people. And there, after the conference, they took me to the cellar of the institute, Starik Skalkov, the technical institute, and there were big iron doors like we have in the vaults for banks. And I wondered, where are we going? It was a huge hall, and the hall was filled with UFO pictures and a big Soviet Union map with pins. And I said, what are these? They said, they didn't want me to sort of get the answer, but I figured that it must be landing sites or crashed UFOs or something like that. And then there was this story of this woodworker who has, Anatoly Malchev, who had been in the woods, doing woodwork, and an alien craft, a UFO, landed. And these aliens looked like humans, like us. And they said, come for a ride. And, courageous man says, okay, fine, I'll come. They flew from the other side of the moon, and there were lights. And he asked, what are those? So he was told by the aliens, we have bases there. And then after some time flying, they landed on another planet. And when the door was open and he went out of the inside of the spaceship, he got a shock of his life, because all the people that came to meet him were his dead relatives and friends, who were in vigorous form, who were happy, who were vibrating and beautiful. Think of it. And the atheist Soviet Union kept this, in my mind, as a state secret. I couldn't understand until later, when I thought about it. Why did they show it to me? They did not show it to the American general who was there, who was, by the way, he was chief of the American Army intelligence. There was an American psychiatrist, and there was another American. So why didn't they invite them? And I came to the conclusion that I was invited because I have been lecturing about Anatoly Malchev since after 1975, when I read about the story. But I did not know that, it was exhibited, all the pictures that he had seen. He was an artist in a way too, and he had drawn all the pictures of the whole trip. And they wanted to show me that, hey, this is true, what you've been lecturing about. So that combines it to the Avatar film, that when you die, your body dies, you go to another planet and you live happily there. Until, of course, it comes time that you have to develop yourself, your soul again. So you choose another planet. Doesn't have to be on this planet, because this is a very primitive, we were on Stone Age in a way. We eat our brothers, we eat meat, the animals, we kill them. We kill our own race in continuous wars, and we don't use but less than 10% of brain capacity.
So the end scene with the life tree, you can say, or tree of life, the end scene where he merges into
the unity.
Yeah.
No, I think it's incredible that there is so much knowledge on this planet, but it is held hidden and only given to few people. And then when those few people find out and go out and give information, they've been harassed terribly, and some are killed.
But why do so many people get depressed, do you think, from watching the movie? They have psychologists going on and everything. Why do people get depressed?
You mean the Avatar movie?
Yeah.
I've not heard that people get depressed, but if they do, then it must be that they realize that the military-industrial complex, which is sort of governing behind the scenes, is creating this world as it is right now, and it's not true. It's not the good world, and it shows how a good world living with nature could be. So of course that could depress one, but you have to get over that, because you have to realize that you take your own power again, and don't let outside forces to depress you. You can change it. You can change it like this. Change your attitude, and you become happy, because you can focus on the beauty of the nature and what is going to happen, which is good, instead of for the bad things that are here. And therefore, you sort of create your own world, and you can be happy.